The government calls. Are we ready, Judge? Jerod Fedison. Raise your right hand, please. Whereupon Jerod Fedison was sworn in and testified as follows. Have a seat, please. State your name and spell it for the record, please. Jerod Fedison. Jerod Fedison. Good morning, Jerod. Can you introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury and tell them from what part of New Orleans you're from? Uptown New Orleans, out the 13th Ward. Can you make sure you get close so we can hear you? Uptown New Orleans, out the 13th Ward. And did you grow up there, spend most of your life there? Yes, ma'am. What streets were you living on when you were growing up? Gina Street, Loyola Street, Liberty Street. And who did you live with? My mother and father and sisters and brothers. And how far did you go in school, Jerod? The 12th grade. Did you graduate? No, ma'am. Where did you go to school? Green and Alcee Fortier. Is Green right there in the neighborhood? Yes, ma'am. Now, you have some prior convictions, right? Yes, ma'am. You have a 2007 possession of 28 grams or more of cocaine out of Orleans Parish? Yes, ma'am. And then you have a 2011 possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and obstruction of justice for which you are currently serving a sentence. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. And that's here, a federal conviction out of the Eastern District of Louisiana? Yes, ma'am. Now, pursuant to that case, you were looking at a 10-year sentence but agreed with the government to an upward departure of 240 months. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. And you did that because you had exposure from a shooting an attempted murder that you had committed? Yes, ma'am. And so you are currently serving a 240-month sentence? Yes, ma'am. And are you cooperating today in hopes of getting a reduced sentence off of that 240-month sentence? Yes, ma'am. Now, if I can take you back a little bit to the 13th Ward, who are some of the individuals that you knew from growing up in the 13th? Me, Aaron Smith, Brian Hayes. You have to speak into the microphone. Me, Aaron Smith, Brian Hayes, Walter Porter, Terrence Lodrick, Christopher Dorsey. And who were some of the people that you were closest to? Me, Aaron Smith, Christopher Dorsey, Brian Hayes, Walter Porter. And did you have a nickname on the street? Yes, ma'am. Fetty. Fetty? Yes, ma'am. Fedi? Fetti. Oh, Fetti. Okay. And does Aaron Smith have a nickname? Yes, ma'am. What? Beatty. And what about Brian Hayes? Bino. And what about Walter Porter? Mooney. Does he have another nickname that you would ever call him, or just Mooney? Irk. And is that Urkel? Yes, ma'am. Now, I would like to ask you a question. You have 13th on your head. Is that from the 13th Ward? Yes, ma'am. And you have another tattoo on your neck. Is CCGG? Yes, ma'am. And what is that? That's Chopper City Guerrilla Gang. Now, is that actually a gang? No, ma'am. Can you explain what that is? That's our rap group. And when you say our rap group, who are you referring to? Me and Christopher Dorsey. What is Christopher Dorsey's nickname? BG. Is that his rap name? Yes, ma'am. And is he a pretty well-known rapper? Yes, ma'am. What is the label name of his, or record name of his rap, Chopper City Records? And Christopher Dorsey, are you aware of whether he was an associate of George Cup Hankton? No, ma'am. Did he know him at all? Yes, ma'am. How did he know him? From the streets. Did he ever purchase anything from him? Probably, yes, ma'am, some heroin. Did BG have a heroin addiction problem? Yes, ma'am. And how do you know that he purchased some heroin from Cup or George Hankton? Because he told me. Now, I would like to go through kind of the history of your cooperation a little bit. You were sentenced on November 23rd, 2011? Yes, ma'am. And was it after that that you first spoke with federal agents on January 30th of 2012? Yes, ma'am. And then I think you were interviewed one other time on February 6th of 2012? Yes, ma'am. During those two interviews, did you provide the agents with all of the information you knew about the individuals that you're testifying against today? No, ma'am. Why not? Because I wasn't willing to cooperate then. I wasn't all in with it. You know what I'm saying? What does that mean, you weren't all in with it? I was, Walter Porter, that's my friend, I got love for him. And then, the severity of this case dealing with Mr. Hankton, you know what I'm saying? Your life at risk. So, everybody who was associated with this case, they wasn't in jail, so I didn't want to cooperate fully. Did you have people out on the streets that you were still concerned about? Yes, ma'am, my family. And who was that? My family, my mother, my sister, and my kids' baby's mothers. You've been incarcerated since when? 2009. And since 2009, sometime after you were incarcerated, did you ever hear about Walter Porter coming over to your girlfriend's or your mother's house? Objection, Your Honor. Overruled. Yes, ma'am. And can you explain what information you learned about that? Well, did you learn it firsthand? Huh? How did you learn this information? From my girlfriend. Your girlfriend told you? Yes, sir. All right, go ahead. It just goes to state of your mind, Your Honor. Right. Go ahead. What did she inform you about? He would just pop up at the house 2, 3, 4 in the morning and just go in the house and just go through the house and then leave. And what did you make of that? Like, he can do her something at any time.